It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Hello. 29th of May 2019, 3:15 p.m. CET time. It's a Bank of Canada day. Nothing extraordinary besides that in the calendar. So we are going to watch Canadian crosses. Before we start, as usual, risk warning, guys. Please bear in mind trading effects on margin trading. Crypto on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for investors who can sustain a loss of some or all initial investment. So please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. Okay, there we go. We have like 45 minutes, so we will go through few things related to what has happened over the course of the first part of the day during the first part of the London session. Just the friendly reminder, I've started to record separate crypto related meetings. The first one had place a week ago, 23rd of May if I'm not mistaken, and I prepared earlier today the second one, which is available here. Enjoy. So in that case we can save more time towards Canadian dollar. Hopefully we are gonna to have some nice movements, so hopefully we are going to see some kind of the volatility. But before we definitely switch to the Canadian dollar, let's have a look what we have on the majors. In that case, let me bring to you dollar index, and let's have a look how the market behaved after our morning discussion. So let me switch to the dollar index. There you go. So there is still some space, as we discussed. 98.10. That's gonna be important from the both bulls and bears perspective, based on what we discussed. Of course, if you haven't seen morning meeting, I'm not gonna repeat everything. The only one is a question about November 2016. After the election, we went through the monthly open, we finished above, so it looks like that's where we are reacting right now. There is still some space towards supply on a higher level, but if we are going to build another upper shadow, that things might get interesting in June, for example, or over the summer holiday. From daily perspective, the previous week rejection, and we hold 97.50, So it looks like right now it's a rally back, so it's some kind of the retest of 98.10, and I'm very curious, 98.10 and last week high 98 something around the 40. Yeah, that's really interesting. Euro dollar just few minutes ago tested the first level we were discussing earlier today, so let's switch back to majors. Okay, so if you remember our morning meeting, if not, then really you have to visit archive on Light Forex YouTube global channel. We were discussing based on the price action we've seen last week, right? Especially the rally after the stop count. We spoke earlier today, pre-London Open, we spoke about the combination between what happened 22nd and 23rd of May, right? So we were discussing, maybe even 21st, right? So we were discussing that first possible demand is gonna be somewhere around 40, and the low for now is 43. Just a friendly reminder, there is an option expiration within next 40 minutes, 38 minutes, and there is a good chunk of the money sitting at 11, but to be honest with you, I don't know. We'll see. For now, 8 minutes ahead of the US Cash Open, the first level based on the daily chart been tested. So actually I do expect some demand here back towards daily open, and everything is going to be solved. Probably we are going to see the decision point somewhere around the daily open, right? There is also one more thing how you can measure the stuff. It doesn't work always that way, right? But especially if we are approaching some logical points, then you can use it. I'm going to explain more about that during our 3 webinars we scheduled in June. There are gonna be plenty of possibilities to remind about that. Anyway, after the entry we went 13-14 pips to the upside. After a move to the downside towards the logical support, we went 16, so close to same distance of pips. Now it's also similar to what we've seen, the price action we've seen on the 22nd of May, right? So yeah, let's check what's going to happen around the end of the day on euro dollar around and where we are going to be. All right. Also, what is important from the higher time frame is this weekly range. Also discussed this morning. In case of eventually breakdown from here, right? And there is a lower possible demand zone. And what I've been talking about this morning was this previous week price action over here. I know lower shadow pin bar. Everyone loves pin bars. It might be some kind of the invitation to hunt the stops below this level, especially that euro was under pressure not only from the dollar perspective, but also we are discussing euro pound this morning, right? We are discussing euro pound this morning, and what we were discussing, there was few possibilities. One of these was the stop count and failure, stop count of the Tokyo high and failure here. Why? because of what we have on a higher time frame, right? That's what we discussed this morning, what we had lately, right? We were discussing this upper shadow as well. We were discussing another thing, possible swing high creation. So with very, I would say, narrow distance between the entry and the stop, there was a possibility to join this pari, join this price action on the euro pound, right? Especially that pound is trying to hold some significant levels to the downside, which we discussed as well, right? So we finished one of the business and we get back above the daily open. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if we are going to see levels related to yesterday high. I'm talking about levels around 27. That's just 40 pips for pound, is just, bam, and we are there. Then euro was under pressure from the yen perspective as well, right? After we broke down through 2250, right? We are trading under 122 currently, and it doesn't look good, right? So in that case, I think that we are still doing well with the dollar compared to intraday price action on others. But EuroCAD is the second after the USD cut we are going to watch within the next 34 minutes because of the Bank of Canada rate decision. All right, so let's get back to Euro Canadian here. Pound being discussed. We are testing some supply, intraday supply. And the thing is that we were able to move, if you it's better visible on 15 minutes. All right, so what we were able to do after the move to the downside, we took out all this morning supply right now. All right, retest twice lower shadows over here on the pound, latest on the 15-minute chart, 2 lower shadows for now. So means that after we took out the supply, retest, so the place where the supply were before, now looks like we do have a demand, right? But still intraday supply around the daily high. Okay, so I'm going to watch the pound around current level because of the daily high. All right, so I've mentioned a second ago, I'm not gonna be surprised if we are going to see 27, right? Yesterday high, something around yesterday high. But first we have to take out this intraday supply based on there is some kind of the liquidity based on the high we made during the Tokyo pre-London Open, right? But anyway, what the bulls managed to do, we got back above daily open, so that's quite positive thing. I'm worried a bit here. Still might be 1-1. We'll see. Then dollar yen, with all these negativities we've seen again during European session, the dollar yen is doing quite well, right? We are holding some significant level. We were talking about the possible longs yesterday, failure, retest the low, and it might be the case that we are going to try to test these levels again. But what we have to do, we have to be careful as a traders because of what's going on Nasdaq, for example, right? There are plenty of action from the Chinese side, trying to build the positive sentiment, but then the Pence said that maybe we are going to have a deal, maybe not with China, right? Who cares? That was this type of the this type of the way. We'll see. The whole story with the Nasdaq and current level we discussed it many times, right? So I'm not gonna go into the more details. We know what we have to as a bulls, what we have to try to hold, as a bears, what we have to try to break. We are talking about 7,200 more or less, right? So let's switch to 1 minute chart as usual, and let's have a look and check first 5 minutes range, and then we will switch towards Canadian crosses. Okay, so that's cash open. That's the low. And to be honest with you, I have in my mind intraday strategy today. I would like to see some kind of the stop count or retest of this 7,200 level. Maybe without this pre-market stop count, this is something like on the very short term time frame. Looks like pre-market was trying to set up double bottom, but it's too ideal, isn't it? No, yeah, but it would be better to check the futures market. Anyway, let's have a look what we are going to get. I'm watching today's low. So let's put the yellow line here. And that's gonna be dotted yellow line, so I'm going to remember that's the daily low, pre-market daily low. And if we are going to see the reversal, that might be the case for us to try to join the party to the upside. We'll see. All right, we are making lower low in terms of the first 5 minute range. So let's watch for a second. All right. What we may see here. That's what I'm gonna to look for here is what I'm looking for here is stop count and this type of the price action a little bit lower under this low, or strong 1 minute candle first of all green with the highest close within this 1 minute after the stop count. Right? That might be for me reason to try to intraday long on Nasdaq. I'm not saying that we should engulf whole first 5-minute range. We'll see. Let's quickly check what is going on. In terms of some news. Okay, that's the range. So what I'm going to check and how I'm going to check, but it's too risky. So don't do this that way, right? That's where low might be 4-5 points. If we are going to see reversal from the levels below the pre-market, it might be just 4-6 points under the level. We'll see. You still have like 23 minutes towards the Canadian dollar, so it's no worries here. That was the main reason of the price action we've seen earlier today, the negative sentiment. But then there was plenty of from the Chinese side, and there was the Chinese president. Here is what else? The China GDP is expected to grow 6.4 year to year in 2019. That was based on the state think tank CASS. What else we got? Just one more time. If market will try to reverse, probably will try to reverse few points, just stops below today's, but I don't know. So that's what I'm telling you. Don't try to be front runner if you cannot move the market. So we took out the low by quarter, but that could be enough as well. Let's watch if we can go deeper. Right now, quickly, where we are here. What was the high here? Ooh, 77, a little bit too low, I would say. All right, still time. So it might be this type of the, just only in case they want to reverse. It might be, so we might see right now bounce back, let's say towards the bottom of the 5 minutes range. We might even see the rally back towards the cash open. Of course, it might be total reversal as well, right? But what I would like to see, you know, not once, but also repeat after the, that's the initial low after the, that's the low right now after the cash open, right? That might be what is going on right now. It might be this bounce, right? It's quite long candle, watch here. And then what I like this, right? Either bottom or maybe cash open, right? And then something like this. And then eventually, right? On the other hand, if there is a decision day to the downside, just, you know, don't forget the end of the month flow will dominate within the next few days, all right? Today, tomorrow, Friday, end of the week, end of the month flow. They are trying to retest this pre-market low with that shadow. It might be some kind of the swing low here. I don't think so yet. So I'm looking for, yeah, for this type of the price action here. Okay, so now let's start the discussion about, let's start the discussion about the Canadian dollar. So, on one hand, overall, I think it's gonna be okay. Let's try not to bias you guys. Let's do it different way. The data and USMCA developments, that's the one side, and that's the positive side for the Canadian dollar. And I would say because on Friday we do have Canadian GDP, let me check and confirm, 31st, 230 Canadian GDP, yeah, because we do have that number. I think that what we are going to have, I think the Bank of Canada members, they more or less do know what's going to happen on Friday. So that's gonna be included in the outlook, right? So, and I think it's gonna be something around the FOMC, something around the Fed, maybe a little bit more dovish, because with what is going on between the US and China, right? That's the thing. So from okay, so we do have this retest of the cash open. Now watch the bottom. That might be the first something around so it might be the retest. What I don't want to see the V formation. That might be the first case over here. Okay, so it might be the retest of the bottom of the first 5-minute range, or it might be retest and depends over here. Anyway, the move might be related to some kind of the news. Let's have a look what we have. Okay, Mueller to make the statement 3 p.m. GMT today. So that might be the case. So within the next 1 hour and 15 minutes. So the move here might be related to that statement. Okay, let's get back to Canadian dollar. So with USD CAD, again, we discussed it many times, right? So we had some kind of the range from around beginning of March towards mid-April before the attempt to break out higher, right? Then pull back into the 50% of that original range and then another range creation, right? So trying to kill us. Anyway, what we've had inside this new range was again some stop hounds to the upside, stop hounds to the downside, all right? Especially this stop to the downside on the 22nd of May, right? With this strong reversal, move towards the top, pullback. Now, tell me something. Isn't similar here? One more time, sorry. The things are going over here. Aren't they similar to what we've seen here? And then another jump higher, another break. So are we going to break through 35.20, 15.20 to open the supply based on what we've seen here? So that's one of the reasons I'm for quite some time negative towards the Canadian dollar. We will see. So let's switch to the lower time frame, and let's have a look what we have on the hourly. So there was a daily open. Tokyo was trying to, you know, push it lower a bit, attempt to break higher. European, all this negative sentiment, pullback. Now, where we stop? Drop based really to the new high compared to what we've seen here. That's the standard, that's the one thing. But also, that's what we are going to discuss during the webinars. In June, and that was the thing where we saw the most of the price action over here, right? 34.88, 34.85. Now, The next similar with plenty of touches, in my opinion, is over here. Somewhere close to this level, right? Now, the thing is, the first reaction in case of the breakdown may really bring us lower. So stop hand ahead of the Riley towards the supply based on daily, right? That's one of the options. But I would prefer to see today one-way ticket. What I'm talking about is jump and continuation, right? After some kind of the pullback. That we'll have to adopt, and we will see what is going on here. So then 15 minutes. This one no longer valid. We have some levels from the higher time frame. Okay, so we've been there today. Okay. So let's switch to 1 minute, and we are going to do it like this. It's crude. I'm sorry. Actually, crude, we are going to put crude here for now, because it's related to what is going on the Canadian as well, and we are going to do something like this with Canadian dollar. And then let's have a look what we have on EuroCAD. Here might be the challenge, as in fact that's the latest range, I would say, with the stop count to the downside without stop count to the upside, right? I'm not saying that we have to see this, just to be you know, to be on a safe side. I'm not saying that we have to have stop count to the upside, right? We are in the middle of that range. Okay, so I consider this one low from 23rd of May, then possible swing, then this double bottom over here as possible levels, and to the upside some stops above the shadows, and then the top of that range. Right, so let's switch lower. And that's the latest developments here. So the key level looks like might be for Canadian somewhere here, and yeah, so yeah, somewhere around 51, and to the downside we don't need that one, and to the downside it might be first somewhere here, right, as this was the bottom broken, retest lower, so that's what we might see, especially that with this one here it could be the case. All right, some kind of the 1-to-1. So that's gonna be euro Canadian. All right. 5 minutes to go, and watch the price action on the Nasdaq. So we reacted at the cash open. They didn't manage. Actually, they didn't manage to hold this first 5 minutes bottom of the range, but they are trying to do it right now. So again, some stops were taken out here. So in that case, going lower, I'm going to watch this one, as this one wasn't tested. So in that case, how high can we go from here to retest this? So we have something, yeah. So we have this level over here. Am I right? A little bit. We need a little bit higher. All right. So retest of the cash open again. Yeah. We'll see. Okay. So good luck to everyone. I'm going to, if necessary, I'm going to make an update tonight. It's not the schedule, so you know, if there is something extraordinary, I will do that. The same Friday, right? We don't have a particular schedule, but if something, I'm gonna to record some, you know, if needed, related to the end of the month flow. So then we may make something extra. Same with crypto. That's what I've mentioned. Two minutes to go. Chinese yuan is retesting today's high. That's where we have to be very careful, even with a little bit, I don't know, better statement in favor of Canadian dollar, right? You have to watch overall sentiment, because we might see the spike to the downside and then rally. On USD cut, the rally back, right? "20 seconds. Trying to the downside. and no reaction, right? Jeez. And then, yeah. So, unchanged as expected. Now it's all about the details. And I'm waiting for accommodation provided by current rate remains appropriate. I'm gonna to provide you the statement from the website. Okay. Retested 20 again. What next? So there was some kind of the reversal over here. So what we didn't quite get there. Okay, in case of the pullback, so the broken 16, so something around 20, that's where I'm gonna to try to have it first exposure, then around the figure second, and stop is gonna to be a little bit lower. We'll see. We'll see if we can get there. And euro is falling below 40. That's what I've told you about. That escalating trade conflict casts doubt on global outlook. That's what I've mentioned before we got it. And there you go, full press release. So let's have a look what's going to happen on the pullback towards 20, and I'm more towards USD CAD for now, at least, with this move below 40 on euro dollar. Okay, so we can actually do the things back over here. That was like this, like this, and crude was over here, right? I wouldn't say we ready here. Here's gonna be the key. But to be honest with you, earlier today, former member, PBOC member said that we are too scary with this 7 level. We might be 710, 720, and we can manage. So, you know, but then they are gonna to face for sure. We are going. The US guys are gonna be angry. President Trump gonna be angry, and China is gonna be called FX manipulator. To be honest with you, as I said before, USMCA positive, of course data dependent, household spending and oil gonna be the key, right? So we had the stop hunt above 35.25 on USD CAD, right? Now we are pulling back, and then I'm gonna to watch in between 25.20, 35.20, 35 level, and I'm gonna to think about the long. But you know, the overall sentiment is gonna play the role as well today. End of demand flow is gonna play the role, and we are approaching fix soon, right? And if you wanna have a FX spot settlement in May, you have to do your things today, either towards the end of the European session or towards the end of the US session. All right, euro is trying to get back above. So what happened on euro? Let's have a look on the higher time frame on euro dollar, right? So post non-farm payrolls low. We discussed it this morning. We discussed this morning, right? So the bulls probably will try to take the advantage of this price action with the stop below last week low, but the bears will try to take the advantage that because of what happened on the weekly chart with this lower shadow, right? Everyone loves pin bars, and we know where the stops are, right? Especially that we still have some demand based on the weekly a little bit lower. I would be very careful with euro, but of course there are always bulls and bears. So again, bulls are taking the advantage of the price action based on what we discussed in relation to the last week happened, and especially on the early here. Look, we just hit the demand. We just hit the demand, right? And we are trying to reverse here, guys. We are trying to reverse here on euro. So in that case, if we are gonna to reverse here and we are gonna to see continuation after the fix in London, so the euro cut to the upside might be a little bit better solution. Then it's gonna be if it's all about the Canadian dollar or US dollar, right? Yes, Mer, I think that's what we discussed today's morning. From the bull's perspective, right? We hit stops here on a daily, right? We move strong reversal after we hit those stops, right? But overall, based on the range we discussed, right now we are pulling back. And the question was where the bulls may to try to reorganize themselves, right? So if the low, if we saw similar to what happened last week, we saw after the payrolls, non-farm payrolls low, and then Riley, right? So if that was the stop count, it's natural that we might see bullish activity around this level. But again, from higher time frame, well, I would be extremely careful. It's juicy here, below last week low, juicy. But that depends who has more money, buyers or sellers, or how much they want to manipulate us more. Whoa, that's strong. That's strong. At least for now. 3 more minutes because it's a 15-minute chart. Looks like we have these reversals from time to time. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's the truth. That's the truth. So in that case, the exposure should be maybe one could think about the lower exposure, just to, you know, trying to adapt to the new conditions, to the new market conditions, right? That's very important. 2 minutes, and it's now all about upper shadows. And if you remember, we were discussing that we have options market at 111, good chunk of the money, right? But it's not necessary we have to go directly to 11, right? I told you so. I told you about that earlier today, that it might be enough retest something around 40.30. But again, guys, don't forget about this statement from Mueller at 3 p.m. within the next 45 minutes. So it's him, it's London fix, it's the end of the month flow, it's everything at once. Holy maloney. Nice reversal. All right, so I would be very careful here. Yeah, we haven't seen, maybe maybe it was here. No, we have, or maybe. I haven't seen the action I would like. It's hard to explain, but I haven't seen what I was looking for right on the Nasdaq here. But overall picture, based on what we discussed for many days, is this zone over here right? We were discussing, might be invitation, might be some attempt to break the neckline if someone see head and shoulders, to invite the sellers and then trap them, and then trap them. Ooh, okay, probably we'll have to check again during the second part of the US session, and if that holds, because right now the cash open, based on my chart, we are talking about the levels closer to 7,230. That's somewhere here and around the bottom of the first 5-minute range. That should be some kind of the demand, but I don't want to see the fireworks right now. I would prefer to see another attempt to go lower at the beginning of the second part of the US session. I'm talking about the time after the US launch, and then eventually rally off that, okay, we cannot break down, let's cover into the end of the session and then short squeeze. And Canadian retesting this demand over here. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. Really, really. Good job. Very well done. So let's watch out then, because we are going to finish with the next half an hour. Then you have to watch out what is going on around the fixing and right after, right? And if necessary, I'm going to monitor towards the end of the day. If necessary, I will make some recordings. And if you have a subscription into the channel, then you are going to be notified that there is something new. Here is the challenge, in my opinion, right now from the Chinese yuan perspective. So we are fighting at the Monday low right now. And if bulls manage to hold this double bottom or even triple bottom, we might see attempt to try to take yesterday high to hit some stops, especially that, it might be, doesn't have to be based on the chart. It simply might be related to the interest towards the end of the month. And then 27.20, why not? We were discussing 27 yesterday high. We have since yesterday the line over here as well. Now what you want to see here on euro dollar, that's the few, if you are a bull, either retest of 11.45 where we were. Yeah, we were very close to this one, or break higher, right? And consolidation above the zone. The best thing for the bulls, for the conservative bulls, is wait and watch the zone over here. That's in relation to the daily open. And as you see, during the whole European session, trying a little, few pips to the upside, few pips to the downside, and repeat. Still some space towards, look, everything, you know, it's not accidentally going on. It might be retest of this broken low, all right, from the intraday perspective. So that's, if you are long, that's your target, somewhere here. Or the break of this 1 minute range over here, and break and close. Or there are gonna be attempt to break higher, you are doubling the range, and you've got your target, right? That's the one thing. If you are a seller, if you are a bear, what would you like to see? You would like to see something like, we don't need that anymore. So you wanna see something like, all right, let's make it like this. Let's hit and retest. Let's make a pullback. Let's invite sellers, right? Some guys will move the stop towards the entry. So let's move again. Let's hit those stops. Let's look for liquidity, right? Or this one. What is going on right now might be this type of the price action. So, slowly trying to summarize. Trying to summarize. Bank of Canada, USD CAD. First thing first. We saw some few stops taken to the downside. Then we saw few stops taken to the upside. Then on the pullback towards the breakout point over here, we saw some bullish activity, but it was not enough. More stops to the downside. We hit possible demand. We are trying to react here, but again, from the higher time frame, we are 35.25. Now, guys, what is important? Next 1 hour. From the European guys' perspective, if they need to make FX spot settlement in May, that's gonna be their hour. If you think they are gonna to watch the charts, think again. So, what I want to see, the dust settled. I wanna see what is going to happen at 5 p.m. CET. And I'm going to monitor second part of the US session. That's why, as I mentioned before, if necessary, I'm going to make an update. I'm going to make short recap somewhere towards the close of the US session, if necessary, from my point of view. I'm monitoring this pound because if I'm not mistaken, and all this price action to the downside is gonna to be reversed. That's what they're trying. Of course, we might see upper shadow and close below. That's gonna be negative. But if I'm not mistaken, somehow the algo should push us higher towards yesterday high. Again, now it's not accidentally done. It's, you know, for algos just to follow. We'll see. What I don't like here is going to be more important from the early chart perspective, because we are talking about the fixing and towards the end of the European session. So we have to hold above this over here right now. So let's make it like this. In case of the early close below, I might decide to cut my longs on pounds, at least partial. And again, we saw nice price action. If we are not gonna see the continuation, you know what's going to happen. Everyone who took the long has his stops under the shadow, under the shadow, right? So if that's the 15-minute chart. If we are not gonna to see the continuation, let's say within the next 3-4 candles, it might be another stop hunt. Okay. If there are questions, if there are any questions, that's the good time to start asking them. If not, just be careful. If you don't have currently the exposure, watch as a lesson what is going on when there is a completely different flow around, not only chart related, right? Not only algos, but some guys, big guys, will make some business probably towards the end of the end of the month. So that might be also the good thing, right? Just a reminder, guys, we have a morning meeting tomorrow, pre-London Open, but what is more important for me is the dates in regards to our meetings. We are going to cover ECB next week and non-farm payrolls, as far as I'm aware of. But 11th of June, 8:45 a.m. CET, we are going to have a first webinar, and not here on the Global Light Forex YouTube channel, but we are going to have a meeting inside the webinar room, and the Light Forex guys, colleagues, will send the invitation. That's the first thing first. The second meeting is gonna take place on the 18th of June, again 8:45 CET, 8:45 a.m. CET. And then the last is gonna be 25th of June, again 8:45. How it's gonna to looks like? We are going to at the very beginning, of course, we are going to start to check what is going on during the London Open, but overall, the first part towards the lunch break, it's gonna be the discussion about some strategies, right? Then lunch break, and then during the New York session, we are going to try to trade what we discussed before. And the second webinar is gonna be very short summary of the first one, and again the same, more about the strategies, lunch break, and doing the things. And the third one, same things, short summary of the previous two, more details. It may be the third one, it's not gonna be some kind of another strategy, but it's gonna be, we are going to focus more towards the strategies we already discussed during the first and second webinar. Some actually very interesting points I'm looking at when trying prepare my trade, right? Of course, what's working for me not necessarily has to work for you, but hopefully you are going to have some takeaways, something which is going to work perfectly fine for you. And again, most of our meetings in June, for the first 14 days of the June, it's gonna be scheduled at the very, as far as I'm aware of, it's gonna be scheduled either this Friday or Monday, so you are going to have a full picture of what is going on YouTube. But the crypto related stuff, it's something I'm going to pre-recorded, and it's going to be covered a little bit differently, at least for now, right? And that's what I don't like with pound, as we discussed, right? It's still 25 minutes. So, knowing the pound, they can easily make few more rounds within the next 25 minutes to the upside, to the downside. But it looks like it's more dollar related, right? And a little bit toward the risk on, because USD CAD is trying to hold 35.07. All right, if there are no more questions, so that's it from me today. Tomorrow 8 a.m. CET, pre-London Open live market coverage here on YouTube Global Light Forex channel. You are more than welcome to join me again. In case there is any kind of the urgency, I'm going to make an update around the or closer to the US close today. That's it from me. Wish you pleasure rest of the day, nice rest of the day, and see you around. Have a good one.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.